Hi, I'm going to share with you an experience written by a UK member who had aneurysm and had to undergo a very complicated operation. She had, in detail, told us how she felt and faced her situation before, during, and after the operation. It was very encouraging and touching, and I have the pleasure of sharing it with you. Here it goes. She says, "This is the experience about my brain surgery. In the afternoon of September 29th, 2020, I started to have terrible headache, nausea, diarrhea, and the pain went up from top to my bottom spine. I thought I had food poisoning, thinking that I will feel better after a good night's sleep. In the morning of October 9th, when I was out to buy food, suddenly I had severe headache again when I was in the street. And this time it was more serious than the last. I felt so painful, as if someone had shot in my head. Continuous tears came down my eyes, making my clothes wet. I immediately went home, called the ambulance to the hospital. After 15 minutes, the ambulance arrived at my home. After examination, they sent me to Leeds LGI Hospital. I was in that hospital for 2 days. After doctor's examination and diagnosis, they suspected I had brain hemorrhage, but the CT scan did not show any signs of hemorrhage. So they decided to have bone marrow aspiration, and the result proved that it was brain hemorrhage, and they immediately contacted LGI Hospital brain specialist to arrange an urgent operation. It was because the blood vessel in my brain kept on bleeding. For safety reasons, they used a special liquid to go to my brain through blood vessels in my arm for another CT scan, so they can clearly see in detail which blood vessel was bleeding. When the result was out, the next day, the nurse said they will have to prepare to do a keyhole surgery. At that time, I was psychologically totally unprepared. When I was taken to the operation theater, I was asked to sign and agree to do the operation. Because it was so urgent and cannot be delayed, I just have to silently chant in my heart to the Gohansen and all the Sultan Senjins to protect me. Though it was a small operation, it took 2 hours' time to place a small metal clip onto the blood vessel underneath the brain tumor. As time goes by, the lining in the blood vessel where the clip was placed is supposed to heal. I remember reading an SGI Chinese publication about Buddhism in our modern world, which says, after all, human bodies are of flesh and blood. No matter how strong your faith, there will be a chance to get sick. But if you grasp the single thought of absolute faith, you can activate all cells in the body to fight illness. Human bodies are born with a high immune system, huge immune system. Buddhism uses the medicine king as an analogy. The medicine king is a life state within the life of a Buddha. So, if we can sincerely and seriously chant to the Gohansen, the medicine king in our life will also be active. I had to wait till the swelling of the wound from the keyhole surgery subsided before I could have the brain surgery. While waiting for the surgery, every day I attended a WhatsApp group meeting formed by my district leader, and the title is to chant for Christine's victory from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. They sent me 1 hour's daimoku. At the same time, I also attended Kuala Lumpur's online discussion meeting and Hong Kong's online teaching meetings. I remember the Gosho says, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is like the roar of a lion. What sickness can therefore be an obstacle? So I brought forth strong faith in my heart when I chanted to the Gohansen that I can turn poison into medicine. Daimoku possesses incredible power. Any sickness cannot be an obstacle. I have to win our difficult situation with very strong faith and with one single thought, like the roar of the lion. Strongly pray to the Gohansen. President Ikeda taught us, we must use Daimoku to challenge. Our prayer will bring hope. Human revolution brings forth life's fundamental change and will make people much stronger. While waiting for the surgery, there are other patients in my ward who had stroke, and because there was a shortage of nurses and they cannot drink, so I helped them wipe their mouths after their meals and helped them drink. Seeing how they suffered, I felt very sorry for them and sent them Daimoku and tried my best to help them. I stayed in the hospital for 1 month and cannot meet with family members, but I did not miss any of my morning and evening gongyo, with Daimoku as my fundamental. I also brought along many Gosho books to learn before I was admitted to the hospital to make me feel stronger. I remember the Gosho says, formerly, some people may think that sickness is a misfortune, but when we come across this Buddhism and change misfortune into fortune, this is a change of karma, the great power to change our complacency and those misled by fate is within our own heart. The day of the brain surgery was coming closer every day, but I was not afraid, because there are SGI members from other countries chanting for me every day, and UK's Leeds Morley Swan district members formed a continuous chanting session for me. I also chanted 2 hours Daimoku every day in the hospital. I firmly believed I would successfully overcome the big operation. On October 27th, a UK Japanese member sent a short message to Swan District's group, saying that she had written a letter to Sensei to report my brain surgery. On 27th at 2:50 p.m., Sensei replied to the Japanese member asking her to tell me not to be afraid. He will send me Daimoku. I was in tears because I was so touched. I felt like having a very strong force entered into my heart. With Sensei's Daimoku and comrades' Daimoku, my operation will definitely be successful. October 28th, 2020, at 6 a.m. in the morning, doctors and nurses began to prepare all procedures for my operation. That day, I had very strong faith to face the coming of this big challenge. I remembered a phrase in the Gosho, which says, "Bit ga samgu, san sao zakang." Translated into English, it means that if our heart and faith is strong, protection from Shoten Senjin will also be strong. And Mr. Toda had encouraged those who were sick, saying, quote, "Change your illness karma into mission. Use your faith to overcome your karma," unquote. Mr. Ikeda taught us, quote, "Life is struggles. Life is challenge. Life is exercise. We must courageously face any tests, courageously face any challenges, change them into an opportunity of growth," unquote. To train ourselves into such a strong person is Nichiren Buddhism. People who steadfastly hold on to this belief will win in the end. At that time, I was very calm, not the least afraid. I was brought into a huge operation theater, and the operation started at 10 a.m. and finished at 5 p.m., 7 hours in total. The nurse said that I only woke up 2 hours after the surgery, because during the surgery there were very problematic complications. The brain tumor was behind the main blood vessel in the brain. To install the clip onto the bleeding blood vessel, the doctor had to temporarily stop blood flowing into the brain. The doctor said that this kind of operation is very rare, and they found that this brain tumor was also slowly bleeding. At that time, the doctor was at a loss as to what to do. Also, my blood vessel walls, because of calcium plaque buildup, they were very hard, and the buildup could have been from past times. Therefore, it took me so long to regain consciousness. Because there was not enough time to install clip to another blood vessel, I needed another keyhole surgery on the next day. I was in the hospital for 1 month. From the Gosho books I brought to the hospital, I saw Mr. Ikeda's teaching, quote, "Whatever happens in life, there is a meaning behind. We need to find out its meaning. Nothing happens is without meaning. Any karma must have its deep meaning. This is a Buddhist way of life. When come across disasters, we will have to face them with ease. It is these continuous struggles that can achieve peace and happiness," unquote. On the 5th day of the operation, I could return home to recover. Through this experience, I sincerely thank the doctors, nurses in the hospitals, and my family members' devoted care. It's now 7 months after the operation, and my body has almost fully recovered. I need to fulfill the vow I made to Sensei. I will try my best to tell people around me the power of this mystic law, and I will continue to do Kozen Rufu and fulfill my mission. I have fully overcome and changed this illness karma and have the actual proof of victory. I have also written a letter to report my victory to Sensei. Sensei replied that he will continue to send me Daimoku. I'm truly grateful. I remember Sensei taught us, quote, "Health is, whatever we come across, we will not lose to our own self. We must have positive attitude towards life. We must obtain health victory as actual proof," unquote. We must honor our agreement with Sensei that we'll never bow to misfortune. We will have faith to overcome any problem. Life means mission. Thank you. So it was a very, very touching and impressive experience, and I'm glad I've shared it with you. Bye-bye. Thank you.